Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Just give me coffee. Just wake me up, 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 don't let me down. Give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up, just let me be blunt. My speech in the morning, nothing but grunts. With no coffee, that's just dangerous. On a scale from 1 to 10, I rank it that girl from Stranger Things. And if you get what I'm saying, my attitude be mad flagrant like I'm Draymond. But you ain't get the picture, BFP. So I'm gonna keep pushing on you, GNC. It's like, yeah, the first thing on my mind is when that hot coffee gonna seep into the coffee grind. It's like some magic's floating all in the air. Toss some ice cubes in my cup, it's a good day. All I gotta say is that it's starting in a good way. It's time for working and I don't even care. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Just give me coffee. Just wake me up, 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 don't let me down. Give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up, just always start fresh, that's how it's gotta be. Everything starts back with your coffee bean. If it's cold brew, then it's gotta be coarse. Don't get the cart ahead of the horse, start learning the course. But of course you can disregard, and don't at me if it gets too hard. When it's my time to drink, man, it's always on hand. Drink from a cup or a bottle, even a can. You never know when you're craving a hit. It could be in the bathroom while you're taking a with farewell city, ain't got nothing on it. When that coffee hits my lips, it's a seance. Feeling real super with the cape on. Anything I'll take on. This cup of coffee, yeah boy, this is the shit. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Just give me coffee. Just wake me up, 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 don't let me down. Give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up, Third verse, so I guess that's where I talk about how we might be addicted in a roundabout kind of way, or how you say, a dependency that's in my life, and I'm proud to say it's filling me with way more energy than I'll ever need, keeping me up for things I thought I'd never see. Time's gonna kill us all one day, whether old age, illness, or from listening to Coldplay. F that noise, while beloved love, drink.
Good morning, all of you beautiful nerds from around the world, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live, the very best way to start your nerdy day on today's show. I'm sad. Kind of bummed. Didn't want to believe it, but apparently Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios, is not going to be participating in Comic-Con at Home. What? Okay. So we'll be talking about that. I'm going to probably cry for like 40 minutes on today's show. Trinity's going to join the stream. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to also talk about some comics. New comic book day today. A couple of good books I personally want to talk about, so I'm excited to talk about that as well. We will also get into a little bit of the Scooper talk. Humberto Gonzalez went scorched earth on a lot of the DC scoops yesterday. Also commented personally on a couple of our videos, and I talked to him a little bit on Twitter. Strange stuff, but I will be covering most of that on a big video on the main channel later today. But of course, in Q&A, we can get over that as well. Okay? So let's say what's up to all the people. What's up? Good morning to Josh. Mike Porter's here. Steve Denton's here. Quincy Miller. Wu-Tang Wells. Gray's in the building. Craze Panda. Lucas Rodriguez. Cade's here. Landon Dubes. Wayne White. Trinity's in the building. SCB. Ryan H is here. Ray Hall's here. Lucas. Coachella Coastal. Yinzer. Jim. David Nations. Mr. Davenport. Renee. Jennifer. Russell. Jonathan. Dave Marvel. Lavish Black Man. James Heaton's in the building. Jonathan Velasquez, Lonely Banner, LB's in the building, Jason, Bill M, Joe Chill, oh my goodness, so many people, Rob Van Camp, Jacob's Quest, Mr. Deeds, Darth Clean, Brian Bufka. Oh, man. Woo! If I missed your name, I apologize. What is up, and good morning to all of you beautiful, beautiful people. A couple of things before we get in to the news of the day. Let's pause it. That was a close one, Josh. Oh, and Trev's here too. What up, Trev? Couple of things. Show notes, ladies and gentlemen. Most importantly, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Nerd Card Showdown. Another one. Should be an epic contest tonight. Make sure you are there at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard right here on this channel. It's going to be very epic. Looking forward to that. Also, my Nerd Vengers. Nerd Vengers. I see all of you beautiful people in here with your badges. Nerd Vengers are, of course, assembled as always. I just want to remind all the Nerd Vengers, Saturday at noon. Big stream. We're going to be picking the official emojis. We should have 10, possibly 13 different emojis that we can have. We're going to vote on those, put those in there, make some decisions, and talk as a community, as is always the case every Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time. The Nerd Vengers do a behind-the-scenes little stream. It's really, really good stuff. And if you didn't know, if you're watching this on the replay, you're hanging out with us here live, we are ending the Patreon as a way to support the channel. We are heavily focusing on memberships for this channel. You want to be a Nerd Venger? Little join button right next to the subscribe button. Couple of different tiers, $5 a month, $10 a month. Get you different cool things. Supports the content over here. Just want to point that out to you, okay? But if you can't afford it or whatever, you don't have the loot, no worries. Everyone is welcome. For like 99% of our content will still be going out free to anybody that would like. Okay? Now, let's talk about this super duper sad news. Here we go. It's the craziest news of the day. Oh, this news. Hey. Oh, man. Oh, man. Not that pumped about it. Not that pumped about it. Marvel Studios reportedly not planning any Comic-Con at Home panels. Okay, so I'm going to read right from this. This is on Screen Rant, but I believe, and they talk about this in the article, that this actual report came from Deadline. But we all know it actually came from an anonymous Redditor that Everything Always talked about on Monday. And don't I look dumb now? Because he was right. Well, reportedly. Anyway, here we go. Marvel Studios is reportedly skipping this year's San Diego Comic-Con due to the thing. Many Hollywood events and other social gatherings have been delayed or just canceled. Instead of doing either of those, however, SDCC opted to work around the situation by hosting it virtually, with a string of panels involved that may not include one for the MCU. After wrapping up the Infinity Saga last year via Avengers Endgame, keywords, followed by Spider-Man Far From Home, which functioned as an epilogue, the franchise is currently on an extended hiatus. Black Widow was supposed to kick things off for Phase 4 back in May, but because of the ongoing global health crisis, it had to be pushed back to November, resulting in a domino effect of the MCU confirmed schedule. Yikes. Marketing for the Kate Shortland and Scarlett Johansson film is still ongoing. Is it really? But it might take a while for fans to learn about the projects that come after it. According to a report from Deadline, Marvel Studios won't be hosting any panel for SDCC at Home. What? The event is slated for July 22nd to the 26th, which promises fans a gathering that will allow them to experience the annual event at the comfort of their own homes. In conjunction with that, DC is also supposedly skipping the event, deciding to save their content for their own virtual convention, DC Fandome, scheduled to take place in August. The article, however, didn't give any information about whether Marvel Studios will host their own online gathering. Wow. I'm not pumped, guys. So, here's the thing. This is like one of those things, and like, believe it or not, this happens to your boy a little bit here, okay? And essentially what's happening is how I personally feel about it, let's just say, is over here. Let's just do a little metaphor thing. Let me just follow me for a little bit here. Let's do an illustration, a visualization, if you will. How I actually feel about it is like over here. How I should report about it, you know, because we're not just talking to a wall here. We're talking to the Nerdvengers, the most elite group of fans of nerdy shit on the internet. Okay? So how I should talk about it, how I should ethically talk about it is like over here. There's a large separation between how I feel and how I should probably talk about it. Because I am, and I think that many of you Marvel fans, you maybe you've been sensing this over the past, couple of weeks in the way that I talk about this stuff. Man, I'm not that pumped. I am not that pumped about this. In fact, I'm like super let down, dude. I'm borderline pissed, dude. Of course, it's an incredibly entitled first world problem thing to be upset about this, but I'm not gonna lie, I am like, I'm angry, dude. Like, what? What is Comic-Con at home then? What is it? You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about it. We'll hopefully there'll be some cool stuff that we can still stream about and do stuff like that. But man, I am bummed. Let's see if we can get Trinity on the line, guys. Let us see if we can get Trinity on the line. And let's see what he has to say about it. Maybe he can calm me down. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he can calm me down. Or maybe this whole stream will be us just raging out about Marvel. Who knows? Trinity, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yes, what's up, man?
What's up? Let's make sure that I can... guys, can you hear Trinity? Let's turn that level up a little bit. Trinity, give us some audio. Let's see if everybody can hear you.
What's up? How you all doing today? Hope you're all doing okay.
I think that sounds pretty clean.
See.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. It's already set up. We just click it in here. Good job, chat. Well done. All right. So, first, I don't know, man. Like, I got to be honest with you. I don't know how this stream's, gonna go or what you want to talk about or what you want to get into. We can get into the comic book stuff first if you want, because that might be a little bit more positive, and then we can talk about the Comic-Con thing or the Scooper thing or whatever you want to get into. But yeah, what do you think? You want to start there?
Yeah, but up to you wherever you want to start. I'm good to go. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the comics this week, man. I saw your video. I just watched it this morning about the deceased #1 or whatever that was, Lost Earth or whatever. And dude, first of all, really good video, man. I really think everybody should check it out. Nice little bells and whistles added in there. Some nice editing. That's pretty cool. But I also saw your kind of feelings about it. But just for everybody here that maybe hasn't seen that video, without giving it away, what did you think of that issue?
It was great. It was really good. A great start off to this new series in Deceased. It's really crazy too. Even like I said in my video, it's rapidly expanding. I mean, this just started last year with the Deceased thing, and they did these 6 issues. Then they did this one shot, and then they did another little 3-issue miniseries in between. Then like we were talking about last week with those little Hope at World's End. A bunch of great stuff really here, setting up this next story arc. Really good stuff. I'd like it.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. There were only 2 books. I actually only read 2 books this week, but it was really selective for me, like what 2 books I read. And it was funny because I read 2 $5 books, one from Marvel and one from DC, right? And the $5 book from DC was the World's End thing that you're talking about. I also thought it was a really good issue, and I'm just quite excited about that whole thing that's going on over there, you know, and whatever the story ends up being, and the way that the digital, like the 99-cent stuff is now kind of tying in to this larger story, because that's like the prequel, so to speak, of what's going on in this big story. And you know what, like without getting like too nerdy or spoilery, I guess, I was a big fan of a lot of the stuff that was going on with when Tomasi was writing Superman, and he was building up the Jonathan Kent character, who is a son of Clark, right? And so watching Jonathan kind of be built up as a character and his relationship with Damian, who is, of course, the son of Bruce. And then in this new issue, you get to sort of see a future which has those two characters interacting in, like, let's just say larger roles. And man, for me, that was some really cool stuff, man. I was pretty into that. I know you had a little bit of problem about the art or whatever. Do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, it was just, and it's funny because I didn't really notice until I think it was in Deceased Unkillables, the last one that had just ended not too long ago. There's just some of the art in there, and that, like, I'm looking there, I'm sitting there reading the book, and I'm looking at it, and like it just stands out to me so much. I'm like, whoa. I mean, because like I draw myself. I guess I'm an artist in my own right, I guess you could say, but I see some of these things going on in some of these books. I'm like, whoa, like, what is going on here? Like, I really started to notice it in Unkillables, just some of the things with Wonder Woman, the way she was depicted and everything. I'm like, what is this? And then in this issue, I just see so many of these, I don't know, not so many, but enough of these inconsistencies in the art. I'm kind of like, oh man, like it's very off-putting, but it's not so bad that like it turns me away from the book or anything like that. It's just these little things that I'm like, how did somebody not catch this? The inker, the colorist.
Yeah,
somebody,
it's weird, right?
Hey,
yeah, like so it's really weird. And some artists just have that, right? Like some artists just look, I mean, first of all, I think sequential art is really tough. Like sequential art is a special skill to have. To be really good at sequentials is crazy. Because even some of the best artists, because I used to work not only as a writer but as an editor, and as an editor you would see so much from different artists, and sometimes when we would do like a test page or whatever, we'd be trying out different artists, and it would be crazy to see like the different interpretations. But even the best sequential artists, they're gonna drop the ball here and there. And the truth is, like, in sequential art, most of the time, depending on what the panel is, the individual panels are actually not what is most important. What is most important is, do the panels as they work together create good cartooning and create like a good flow and a good like visual kind of jumping around. But you're absolutely right that like I think the real test, and this happens in movies as well, is like does it take you out? Does it take you out of the experience? And there were some things that when I first read it, I wasn't like as bothered by it. But when you brought it up in your video, and I'll leave the specifics for people to go watch your video about it. But when you brought up a couple of things, I was like, damn, that is true. I didn't really think of that. But now that I see it, I don't know if I'll be able to unsee it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying there with like the artists and everything too. Because I mean, obviously a lot of them, they're using digital. And I guess that's kind of why I almost even look down upon it sometimes, is because a lot of the artists these days, they use digital means to do their drawing and things like that. So, and I won't confess to know about it, but it seems like it's a lot easier to cut, crop, move things around and stuff like that than it is to break out the eraser and erase and redraw it again.
Right, you would think, right?
Yeah, and it almost makes me think like there really should be no excuse for that. But at the same time, I get it too, and I know plenty of them also use like certain models and stuff that they use kind of over and over. Because I noticed a certain artist over that does work for Aftershock Comics a lot, where I noticed in 2 different books the same lady's face in a couple of different books. I'm like, okay, so he's using some sort of models to do these.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because in like manga and stuff, this is like one of the things that I love about manga, particularly at the upper levels, and definitely like in the 90s when like things were just like super clean, is they're just a little bit. I don't want to say better. Better is like a weird way to put it, but there's something about the fluidity and the way that they draw lines. And, you know, if you look at like Toriyama's stuff, like Toriyama is one of the best cartoonists ever to live, you know, and the Dragon Ball manga is like, it's consistent, it's dynamic, it's explosive, but it feels consistent. Like crazy stuff happens, bending shapes, weird stuff, but it feels consistent. But yeah, in American comics, I don't know what it is, man. I mean, I honestly feel like this kind of gets into some of the deeper problems that we have with comics, and that the industry itself is kind of all out of balance. Because if you think about it, like the whole experience from the top to the bottom is weird. Why did I have to pay $5 for that comic? Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And also, why is this guy getting paid whatever he's getting paid, and yet either the crunch is too crazy or the quality control's not there to allow that? Like, I shouldn't pay $5 for a book that you can so easily point to these kind of problems with, in my opinion, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I agree. And like I said, I mean, and I get it. I mean, it can be tough to sit there and be cranking out all this art and all these things, these basically periodicals every single month. And like you're saying, it does kind of point out some of the things in the industry where, you know, maybe it's just time to slow down a little bit and spend a little more time on these books. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go like the Doomsday Clock route or even the J.J. Abrams Spider-Man comic route.
Did that even happen? Did that happen? The J.J. Abrams thing? Talk to me about that. I'm not even familiar with what happened.
See, and that's the funny thing is, like, you don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even think the people at Marvel know what happened to that book. Yeah, last year, I want to say it was in October. Excuse me.
I remember the announcement. I remember when they announced it in that video with his son. I was like, oh my God, this is the most cringe shit I've seen. Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, so they launched that book. Issue 1 came out. Issue 2 came out. Then I think there was like a month or two delay. Issue 3 came out. And that was clear back in. Now, once the issue 3 was, man, was that this? It might have been in January. It might have came out in January and nothing since. And even back then, before things started going crazy, I didn't see issue 4 being in any of the solicits or anything. Nothing. And I haven't heard anything about it since. Yeah,
Marvel keeps trying to do, well, I mean, both of the big two are sort of guilty of this, but they try to do big stuff that reaches past their medium, right? So they're trying to like get headlines outside of comics and shit like that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what that is. But let's shift. Let's talk about other books that we were into this week. Do you want to give the people a couple of books that you really like that you think that they should check out? And then I'll talk about the Marvel book I read, and then we'll complain about Feige.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah, like I said, The Deceased is really good. I've got my review for X-Force all done as well. If you haven't been keeping up with the Jonathan Hickman X-Men stuff, it's been really good. X-Force is probably has been my favorite of the series so far out of the Dawn of X titles. Benjamin Percy doing just a phenomenal job writing the book. This issue right here, I've actually got some minor issues with, but I think they're actually kind of solved through the storytelling in itself. As I was reading the book, because I'm sitting like, what? And then I read them like, oh, okay, they got some of it down. Like he's got his P's and he crossed his T's and dotted his I's.
Nice.
And then aside from that, you know, another indie book, you know, that I guess I'd like to point out. I won't point out the other one that I'd love to point out, but this
too risque.
The audience.
Okay, gotcha.
But this one right here is on Vault Comics. I've really enjoyed this one. This is certainly not for everybody. It's called Money Shot.
Oh wow.
And basically what it's about is about these scientists who have these problems finding funds to fund their scientific projects. And this is in the future. And what had happened was the reason they're having problems is because the United States pretty much like cut off funding for science projects and just things like that because these aliens had come down and were going to take the Earth into the higher collective because we were all smart and everything. And then they come and observe the Earth for a while and they're like, no, these people are crazy. Forget it.
Yeah, sounds accurate.
Yeah, so they have to crowdfund their projects for their scientific projects because the school will no longer give them funds. They can't get funds. So they decide to basically start a YouTube channel, a website, and they go out into space and start having sex with aliens.
Wow, okay.
And that's kind of where it's at. And so what they're doing is going out and kind of what happened in the first story arc was they went out and like sexually they liberated this planet. And we can see that the same thing is getting ready to go on here in issue number 6, the second volume. Just hilarious stuff. If you're an adult, you can handle some of the sexual situations and things like that. Absolutely hilarious book. It makes me chuckle.
Nice. Right on, man. Right on. I'll say that the only other book I read this week was an Empire book. And I know you're not like super feeling that. For Marvel. But I got to tell you, man, the more I read from it, I'm like, I don't think I'm feeling Empire. Like, what the hell is this? But what's interesting is the issue that I just read, it was the Fantastic Four's number 0 or whatever, which, by the way, kudos to the big two for figuring out that the number 1 phenomena where they do a new number 1, that they could double that shit and do a new number 0. Wow. Crazy intuitive thoughts. Anyway, so I'm reading this Fantastic Four issue. The thing is, it's a great comic book. Like, it's actually really cool. I think Dan Slott is probably one of the best, honestly, at what he does. Like, he's just really good at writing good cartooning and writing good comics. It's a really fun story, but ultimately, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't feel like I know anything else about Empire other than the fact that the Richards family and the Fantastic Four is now aware that there's a truce between the Kree and the Skrull. I just don't get it, and I really don't like this sort of like, hey, let's slap an Empire stamp on that book, put a number 0 on it, we'll get a million people to read it. Like, that could have been one panel where the Richards family finds out about the Kree-Skrull War. Now, I'm not saying, like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm totally okay with reading that book. That book is great. It's actually really good. I like the Franklin Richards kind of angle. They do some really crazy stuff in a casino. There's a new Elder of the Universe that is introduced. It's kind of funny, like, what actually ends up happening with that. But ultimately, the fact that Marvel marketed that book to me as a part of Empire. Mm-hmm. The fact that it was $5 and the fact that it doesn't actually feel enriching or like it's telling a great story. And really, it's not like just Marvel's bad, because you can juxtapose this against House of X and Powers of X, which was phenomenal and was completely worth every penny you spent on it. It was so cool. Like, it was so cool. It was well crafted. Hickman brought it in these issues, you know? And yes. But in, you know, so it's sort of a weird thing. It's like, in Dan Slott's defense, it's a damn fine comic, you know? But in the sense of like Marvel doing that same old thing, like, yo, like, so I don't know. I honestly couldn't recommend either of the books that I read this week, even though they're great comics. That $5 price tag for me is absurd, dude. If you're going to put a $5 comic book out, it better be primo, life-changing shit, in my opinion. And just this to me, and maybe it's unfair, and maybe I'll get some heat for this or whatever, but I'm just going to try to, on a weekly basis here, like, try to judge maybe the quality of the book, and then ultimately make sort of a judgment call based on economics. You know what I mean? Like, dude, yeah. Ain't worth it. $5? No way. Wait it, get it on the back end, get it in trade or something. It is certainly not worth $5. Either one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think they're starting to wise up to that, these companies, because, I mean, obviously we see Marvel did something I've been pretty much against, is going the digital route, scrapping some of the print books, going just straight digital. And but the thing is, they're still charging the same price for this. I mean, at least if you're paying $5 for that physical copy, at least you have something that you can rip in half and throw away and do something with.
Sure. I agree.
With your digital copy, you're sitting there just like you're going to crack your screen on your on your iPad or your phone. But they certainly need to do something to make it a more viable market, not only for them but even for the consumers. Yeah, because it is a little bit ridiculous. Like you're saying, the $5 price tag, even at, the regular one was $3.99, $4. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
then by the time you get a digital comic that's the exact same price, it's a little, it's outdated. It's kind of crazy. And like you said, for the quality of what you're getting most of the time, it's kind of like, is this really even worth it? And that really brings in even more issues within the industry, because it's not like a lot of these people that are working on these books, even if it is like not up to your standards, people still actually really do work hard on these. And that's the one thing I hate to say when there's something bad, is people really do work hard on this stuff. And I absolutely hate trampling on people's work, because I know people work hard. They dedicate themselves. They're passionate about stuff. Even when I worked at my old job in a retail environment, I still felt the same way. Even about that guy who, we all have to pick up his slack. I still even feel bad about trampling on that guy's work, because maybe nobody's told him, or all kinds of other stuff that goes into that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's
model.
all kind of different factors that go into that side of it. And the truth is, like, the people that are making the books, it's weird, because in some ways, I do think that even the system, the comic book system itself, does hurt their process. Like, for instance, just the way that they're sort of maybe editorially shifted and told to sort of piecemeal out the story. Because, like, it's not like Dan Slott's pitch to Marvel, hey, I want this book to be $5 and to not actually have that much to do with Empire. You know what I mean? It's not like he's doing that. It's not like the artist is doing that. So I think in some ways the industry itself does hurt creatives and make them sort of complicit in this. But I would agree with you that, like, in no way am I saying that these people didn't work hard on this book. Like, comics are really hard, and they take a long time to make. That's another thing, right? So I don't know what the exact solution is. There has to be a way to subsidize these people's works, absolutely. But the current model is broken. You know what I mean? It's leading us in a bad direction.
For me, I think a big thing on that is, like, the quality. For one, a lot of these companies putting out far too many books, far too many books that people aren't reading enough of. And I hate saying that too, and that's why I say enough of, because it's not, I hate, you say, like, oh, nobody's reading this book. Well, everyone's like, somebody's like, oh, well, I read this book. Like, sure. I get it.
Yep.
I get that.
Good point. Yeah.
But for the majority it's not doing good. So I'm okay with, those digital releases. Like, I think even somebody else here in the comments said, bring it down to 99 cents. I think it was Trev. Yeah. Bring it down to 99 cents. I'm good with that. I will buy digital comics all day long for 99 cents. Probably even books that I already own, just to have digital copies of them, so I can, read on the go, or if I'm doing a video, I can have little, things like that to just do stuff with. But it is far too high. I think they need to scale some of it back. A lot of the writers and everything. I mean, we already know that a lot of them are trying to just find their way into Hollywood and all that kinds of stuff like that. And I get it. There's people out there that make those arguments, and I do somewhat agree with that kinds of stuff. Like, you need to be here and be passionate about this thing. But I also won't pretend like people don't use whatever avenues they can to break into different things. Plenty of people do acting and singing and dancing and those different kinds of things. So I won't fault anybody for doing whatever they can to break into whatever industry they can, as long as they're maintaining their integrity.
Yeah, and those things aren't mutually exclusive either, because, like, even Tom Bilyeu is very open about the fact that, like, what he's doing with their comics is actually trying to break into other media. And the main reason is, though, because Tom wants a positive influence on the youth. Tom wants an ability to have some of the messaging and the things that have really helped his life to permeate into the pop culture consciousness. So he's trying to be a Walt Disney. He's very open about that. But comics is the most viable, cost-effective way to get these characters, properties, and stories actually realized in a visual medium. And the hope is to then get them popular enough that then they warrant an adaptation into animation or live action. And that's why, by the way, Tom is completely okay with losing money on his comics, and he tells people to pirate them. He would rather have you pirate his shit and be aware of it than not. And that's actually really interesting to me, because he's actually created a pretty nice model within a we're going to get it. I don't want to go down way too far down this rabbit hole. This is maybe something for the Sunday stream, man. but like that there can be sort of ethos based capitalism. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird or whatever, but I think that that's sort of one thing that he's getting at. But Trinity, I can't take it anymore. I need to complain about San Diego Comic-Con. I need to complain about Feige. I need to freak out about this like the unreasonable nerd that I am. But first, let's hear your thoughts. Am I way off base here? What are your feelings, man? No Feige, no Marvel Studios at San Diego Comic-Con. 2020 has been an absolute shit show. You can't throw us a bone and do something at Comic-Con? What the fuck?
No, I don't think you're off base with that at all. I mean, it is kind of messed up, but at the same time, I mean, it does seem you almost seen it coming after Comic-Con was canceled anyway, because we know like what obviously they're going to have high attendance, high viewership, and things like that for people wanting to see these kinds of things, you know, Comic-Con. But like I said, even in the comment section with them canceling and stuff, like I'm not trying to go to conventions at home. If they didn't do San Diego Comic-Con anything, and all these individual studios did their own little thing on their own YouTube channels or websites and stuff like that, I'm okay. Excuse me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But just make it good and do something soon, because you need to build hype for what's going on. While I'm hyped for all this stuff, there are plenty of people out there, even hardcore nerds like ourselves, who are not hyped about any of these movies anymore.
Dude,
and
real though.
Something like you were saying before too is they've got to build that hype back up for these movies coming out. Forget announcing stuff that you got coming up in the future. It's irrelevant right now. Right. It has absolutely no bearing on anything that's going on right now. It really doesn't.
Yeah, dude. I'm like at this point where, and I get that people like, for instance, CGM show, right? This guy in here is very, you know, positive on Marvel. Just kind of says, you know, and I welcome your comments, CGM. You know, we can sort of address them and whatever. But there's sort of this attitude I've seen out there from a lot of people that's like, dude, Marvel's fine. Like, what are you worried about, dude? In any industry, any company that rests on their laurels, any company that's like, no, we good, we got it. Dude, horrible mindset. Kodak used to be the be-all and end-all of photography and of personalized photography. A business worth billions that was around for more than 100 years. They got beat by 12 dudes in a little startup called Instagram, and now they don't exist. Anytime a company decides, you know, we're good, actually. I think we're going to hold on to this market share. I don't think that we have to really be actively engaged with converting potential audience members. I mean, geez, look at how many audience members we've got. I am so against that mentality. And I think that the Marvel situation is not quite that. So let me be clear. That's not exactly what I'm saying that Marvel is doing. Because Marvel obviously has plans. They obviously have a track record. And I think that they will have plans to inevitably come out and promote this stuff. But that attitude, dude, that attitude of like, no, we're good, fam. I hate it, dude. I'm just being real with you. You know what I mean? I hate it.
Yes, I totally understand, and I think kind of where we're venturing into here with a lot of that stuff. I mean, we're going into blockbuster territory. I mean, like a Blockbuster, like a Netflix, Redbox, all that stuff. They had the opportunity to capitalize on that stuff, and you're absolutely right. You can't be complacent. You got to constantly be thinking and innovating about the things that you're going to do to reach your audiences, to reach your fans, viewers, all of that stuff. I'm dead sure that Kevin Feige has something planned. I'm dead sure that he's going to come and slap it on the table, or maybe even slap us across the face with it, whatever he's going to do. But the thing is it needs to happen sooner than later, because even I'm at the point, you know me and my boomer status with the Black Widow, waiting to see it on the big screen.
Yeah,
but
hey, maybe.
I've literally stated I would still rather pay a high amount of money to see this at home on streaming. But no matter how much I pay here at home to watch it, I still want to see it on the big screen when theaters open up.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. You know what's funny? I actually think that might be sort of the way that theaters go, where like you might have a day and date digital, But there will still be people, and I'll be one of them. That's like, dude, no, I want the theater experience. It's like going to an arcade. Sure, you could play Marvel vs. Capcom at home, but there's just something about going to the arcade, man. You know what I mean? Different environment, and all that kind of stuff. It does create an experience. So, and I think experiences are very valuable. And as we digitize, experiences will actually elevate in value. So you actually might pay more, unfortunately, to go to the theater, which in some ways would be to subsidize the loss from digital. But so you said something there where you were like, I'm confident Feige has a plan and Feige will be talking about something. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Look at the chat. Like, everybody's so upset. It's so funny. And we'll get into Q&A in just a little bit because your comments matter. Of course, I'm wrong and you're right. So we'll get there. Okay. Trin, is this only because of what's going on in the world? Is this because Marvel is unsure when they can actually release these things? Is this because they're unsure when they can get back to work to making this product? Is that what's causing them to not want to commit to announcing stuff?
I think it could be. I think it could be a huge reason why. Obviously, everything's still going on in the world. Theaters still shut down through many places throughout the world. I do think that's a lot of it. Still going to have to build that hype up, no matter what. Like you said, they can't rest on the fact that they have us hardcore nerds out there to do it, because you're basically starting back. You're basically starting back at phase 1 again. Essentially, when things start up. And the thing becomes hard, too, where they're in that situation, something I've kind of talked a little bit about, and I don't really hear a whole lot of people talking about when they have this conversation, is that if we release everything to digital right now, which, I have mixed feelings about that whole thing.
Right.
If you release all these movies to digital right now, the ones that are still supposed to release this year, like, hey, let's get these studios, let's get these things out there, make some money. What happens when theaters actually open back up? They have no movies to show.
Right.
You're not going to make theaters aren't going to make money reshowing Goonies, Back to the Future, Infinity War, and Avatar. It's just not going to happen. They need new movies to put back into the theater, and what are those movies going to be? So there's definitely got to be something, some sort of workaround with things like that, because waiting to release isn't good. Digital isn't all that great neither. I just think, and one of my other thoughts was, maybe they just need to, I know it's going to be hard, but when theaters are fully open back up, just release a movie in a theater. I realize that it won't get, people won't be going there in droves, but with the social distancing and things, if it's on more screens in theaters, and it's there a little bit longer, it could still potentially pull people back into the theater, still make a good amount of money, because like the kind of money that Black Widow, I think, would make. I mean, I'm talking about like $800 million possibly that it was going to make in the first place.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you don't make $800 million by cramming people into the theater every single showing every single day for X amount of weeks. I mean, you can do that in a lot longer time, or I mean, just in more time. You know what I mean? Instead of like that same window. Yeah, it's not such a push.
Yeah, but for sure. The robot voice will kick in here in just a second, Trin, because we got a sweet little super chat coming in from the Godfather. Look at that beard, too. Best beard in the game. Best beard in the game, Godfather has.
Nice.
Chet, what's going on with the robot voice? Do we not have the robot voice? Okay, here we go.
DC is just jumping on the opportunity to hype us all up with nothing to show for it or any track record. Marvel has a track record and has shown us plans.
Whoo! Coming in hot, dude. Did you see what he put in the chat, Trent?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Look, just one more point I want to make here, and let's just. Do you got a little time, brother? Because I want to get into Q&A, and I feel like people are charged up on this one, so we might. I mean, people definitely want to talk about this. So we'll shift right into Q&A. I guess the last thing that I will say is this: I really respect Feige, and I think that he's a really smart businessman. If there's no announcements whatsoever, then obviously we just have to defer that there are reasons that is happening. But what I'm saying is, as a fan, 2020 has sucked. And I don't know. I guess what I'm saying ultimately, really, Trinity, and this dude, talk about a nuclear take. Here's a nuclear take that's gonna wipe out everybody. We're gonna lose all the Nerd Vengers after this take. Here we go. Ready? I would hate for it to come out that the reason Feige is not doing this is because he is so attached to that canon, to that iron Feige grip, that he is so unwilling to bend on that he would literally put all of these feelings of all of these Marvel fans that around the world pretty much are all going through the same shitty year, that he would say, nah, fam, trust me. And only because he's so attached to his own shit.
Right.
So, now that I'm canceled, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
No, and that could very well be. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, at some point, you kind of get a disconnect. You think, and maybe not that he's like so full of himself or anything, but you kind of get like, oh, like, hey, we're so successful. You kind of get that disconnect. Like, we can wait. The people will wait. They will be there. They're always going to be there. They've been there for us for a decade.
Right. No.
I think somebody certainly could get lost in that thinking, and I mean, nobody's above anything like that. I sure hope that's not the case. I hope he's got a better head on his shoulders than that.
Yeah.
And I see, a lot of people talking about, like the DC stuff. Just they're giving us a lot of hype and no substance yet as well. And I can agree with that too. But that's pretty much what Marvel does every single year. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah. And then Trev comes in with a super chat, sort of trying, I believe, in an attempt to rebut Godfather's point, and he says Marvel is failing to jump on that same opportunity. Whoo! Spicy! We're getting spicy today. But yeah, guys, we're officially in Q&A. Please drop your questions in there. Questions for me, questions for Trinity. We will chat it up. You got like 10 more minutes or whatever, Trin, before you go launch over there? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if you have a super chat, obviously helps supports the channel. We will give more sort of time and attention to focus to the questions that come in via super chat. But if you don't have any loot, do not worry about it and just drop your questions in, and we will break it down. I just want to address this one here. Social Distance Warrior says, it took a few rumors to change your mind after seeing 11 years of great work. You're fickled. Or you fickled is what he said. So first of all, SDW, I mean, I feel you. I feel the spirit of what you're coming in there. I would also reject the idea of 11 years of great work. Unfortunately, and I know this might upset you, but the MCU has not been 11 years straight of great work. There have been some stumbles. There have been some missteps. Phase 2 particularly was a super lull. And I might be fickled. You might be correct, but I'm willing to bet that most of the online nerdy community is actually more fickle than you would think. The point is actually not for them to win me back. It's the fact that they could lose a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's kind of my thing. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Trin.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, they could easily lose all the normies, all the people who aren't into this as much. I think my rebuttal to what you just said is, what are you talking about? A couple of down years, phase 2. I know you're not talking about Winter Soldier.
No, Winter Soldier was dope. That was actually Winter Soldier was when they kind of brought it back. You know what I mean? But yeah, there was some shaky stuff like Iron Man 2, Thor 2. And I actually like Thor 2 more than most people, but it's not a very good flick. And I think Iron Man 3 was. It's weird, man. I don't know. I go back and forth on it, but I don't really think it's that great, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think during phase 2 is where they initially had that success. On phase 1, phase 2 is where they're kind of like, oh, okay, like this is doing good, and they're kind of like, okay, like let's bring in all the toys. They're trying to scoop everything in, and maybe some junk got in there that they didn't want in there, because they just had their arms open, they're scooping everything in. But yeah, they've. I mean, not everything has been success. Just because at the end of this 10 years, you look back and you're like, wow, man, like each one of these films is kind of average. $1 billion. So
right, I know.
you know,
It's well,
they
look,
must
it's
all be
revision,
good.
right? It's revisionist history, and it's also, man, I forget the word for it, but it's like recency bias. You know what I mean? I think is part of it. Like, honestly, like just being real, the MCU's really only like taken off like a rocket and has been just like boom, boom, hit after hit after hit for the past 5 years. Really. You know what I mean? Before that, I
Yeah.
mean, they were obviously crushing it. But yeah, you sit back and you're like, oh man, 11 years of, almost averaging $1 billion. Man of Steel outgrossed almost every phase 1 MCU movie. These are just facts. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick face, but it's like, I think we do have sort of a revisionist history, and then we have recency bias.
Right.
Marvel, look, I'm a Marvel fanboy. Of course I love Marvel. And Infinity War and Endgame, some of the best theatrical experiences I've ever had. The lead up to Endgame was something communal that's almost the exact opposite of what's going on in 2020. You know what I mean? Like, it was different where we were all like hyped and together and stuff like that. But I just don't fully agree. I don't fully agree with that sentiment. Go watch the movies, bruh, says SDW. Now I'm cool. Let's see here. Iron Man 3 was ass cheeks. Oh, dude, wow. Natalie Portman is an overrated actor. Oh, boy.
Whoa,
I can agree.
Whoa,
Not
whoa,
everything worked.
whoa.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Go ahead. Feel free. Spit that fire.
Like, I get that maybe some people don't like Natalie Portman for whatever reason because she's not nerdy enough. She don't like all the nerd stuff, the Star Wars stuff or anything like that. But Natalie Portman's a good actor. Okay,
She's like incredible. Like, if you don't think Natalie Portman's a good actress, like, check yourself.
And
like,
well, it's funny too because like I seen a video a while back. I'm always lurking in these streams and stuff, and I actually seen somebody say in the stream one day, like, I get it, you like one movie more than the other, but
yeah,
somebody actually said in the stream one day that Gal Gadot is a better actor than Natalie Portman.
what?
And I'm just
Was that like LB?
like,
that sounds like an LB take.
no, he's wiser than that. That's for sure.
Yeah, you think so? You think so? LB, if you're watching this, when are you gonna come on the show and share some of your horrible takes with me? I love your horrible takes. I think your horrible takes are really enjoyable. Why don't you come on the show?
You're the one with the horrible takes. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. Shit, got it wrong.
But yeah, and that's the things like to me, I'm like, okay, you're speaking from emotionality because you didn't like maybe you didn't like Natalie Portman in the prequels, or you didn't like her in the Thor movie or whatnot, or maybe because she's going to be Jane Foster Thor or whatnot. Hands down, anybody that's telling you that Natalie Portman isn't a good actor and not as good as or better than Gal Gadot, just disregard what that person says. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they definitely don't know what they're talking about. Here's one that's really interesting though, and potentially a little problematic. We obviously Natalie is the better actress. Which one is if there's one spot for the sexiest woman alive, okay, and these two are competing, who's sexier, Gadot or Portman? Come on, Trinity. See the steam coming out of your ears.
Man,
it's gonna break your gears.
That's pretty rough. Why you got to put me in that tight tight spot, that situation?
That's
man.
a tight
My
spot.
back is against the wall.
Your back's against the wall.
Yeah, I know, and this is one of those things. And I think I seen like a meme about this on like Twitter or something. Where it's take the red pill or the blue pill.
Okay.
Well, I gotta say that when I was growing up through the 80s and 90s, you just take both. Dang it.
Oh, okay,
pills.
right on. I like that answer.
You take both pills.
Yeah, that one's really tough for me. I'd probably have to go with Natalie. Like, here's the thing.
I probably would too.
I think if it was a robot, like if I was a robot or an algorithm, I think you could say Gadot or Gadot. Because I think that, like, she's more, I don't know, stereotypically beautiful maybe is the word. She's more stereotypical, taller, long legs, like just incredible bone structure, you know what I mean? But just total personal bias, like Natalie Portman, I think is just more maybe my type. Does that make sense? She's not as
totally.
like atypically beautiful, but like I would pick Natalie in that situation. Kendall Davis coming in with the super chat says, "Imagine if Kovred, the beer bug, happened between Infinity War and Endgame. What do you think about that? Wouldn't that be nuts, dude?"
it would be nuts. That would have been absolutely crazy. I mean, all this stuff happening a year sooner. Yeah, that would have been nuts. Would Endgame have been the movie to get us back into theaters?
Yeah, that's true, bro. That's a great
and,
fucking point. That would have been like.
Yeah, because I mean, remember that? Like that was like a whole cultural movement, man. Like I remember going to the theater like every single time I went over that weekend. I went 4 times that opening weekend. You could feel the electricity in the air every single time you get into the theater, and it's like, man, like you could just feel it.
Yeah,
you could just feel it.
Yeah, man. It was. Yeah, that was just some of the best. I mean, yeah. Endgame. I was so emotional watching Endgame. I thought Endgame was like fucking sad, dude. I teared up multiple times. Like it was, I didn't like cry, but like I was close, like literally close. But Dave's got a good point here. He says, okay, next cover, who's hotter, Chris Evans or Chris Pratt? We have to be fair. I totally agree with Dave here. We got to be fair. Who you got, Trin? Evans or Pratt?
Oh, that's easy. That's
what?
Easy.
Okay. What?
It's Chris Evans.
Okay.
Like, I'm comfortable in my sexuality and everything, but I look at Chris Evans, even with him being totally not aligned with me politically, but I don't think anybody is.
Yeah.
Even looking at that man, I see him. I'm just like, oh, dang, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
But you know what? To be fair, though, I feel like Pratt has almost I don't know, like a different vibe. Like Evans is like a Barbie doll or a Ken doll, I guess. And then like Pratt is a dude who like could come out of the mountains. You know what I mean? Like, I think that sexuality in that sense is a little bit different, right? Because some ladies and dudes might be into maybe the Ken doll type thing that Evans has going on. But then some ladies or dudes might be into, like, the lumberjack motherfucker. You know what I mean? And, like, I think in some ways Pratt is that. Now, man, who would you rather have a beer with? Yeah, I know. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. And this is getting clipped out for sure.
Dare I say I'm a Bears fan?
Perfect. Fucking perfect. So this will be the last show of the week. But I'm just curious. Who would you rather have a beer with? Who do you think would be cooler to like have a beer with or smoke a J with or something like that?
Out of those two?
Yeah.
Definitely Pratt. Pratt.
See, so okay, we're on the same page with that. Yeah. No, I agree. I lost total track of the chat and also my brain. Don't look at me that way, Trinity, says the Godfather. Dave says, wow, I'm appalled. I don't know why. I don't know why, Dave. Did you put your opinion in here? I haven't seen your shit there. You want America's ass, says Russell. Oh my God, we are so far off the reservation here. It's pretty funny. Gray says Fassbender. No, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten way far away from the Marvel announcements. CGM show says, dude, Marvel's going to announce some stuff on Disney Plus. They just cut their free trial, so you have to pay to see it. How much do you want it? That's actually an interesting point. So what do you think about that? What do you think would be if they do come out with announcements or some kind of video or something on Disney Plus and it's not Comic-Con? Do you think that's possible? And also, sort of a secondary question here, but do you think Feige, because this would make my heart spring with joy, is if he actually came out with like Marvel Studios Comic-Con thing, whatever version of DC Fandome, and like put it the weekend before DC Fandome. Then I'd be like, that's the Feige I know. Let's go! And like just try to undercut them and shit. Like I'd be pretty hyped for that. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean that would be great. I mean, I'm kind of sitting here like, would it be best for him to do it before or right after? You know, like right after, like while everybody's reeling, they're all high from the DC. You're like, yay, Fandom, yay! And then all of a sudden, he just comes out, he does his Feige thing, he whips it out, and bam!
Yeah, dude, I would love it. I'd love it. I think before. Well, it depends, right? It depends on how much he knows about what DC is planning. Because if he can verify what he knows, And he because for instance, right now there's sort of a big narrative that the Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, that film and some of the potential things that will be done in that film is actually what gave DC the idea to make Flash or the Flash movie into what it is and have it come out that same year, and they're going to be battling just like Civil War and BVS. Okay. So it depends on how much he knows. It depends on how much he's willing to talk about, because if he can come in and undercut what DC is going to do, because DC is probably going to come out and be like, we got Michael Keaton, we're doing the multiverse. Well, if Feige comes out the week before and is like, we got Hugh Jackman and we're doing the multiverse, I mean, it kind of, you know, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I would want, dude. I'd be like, let's go, like getting all hyped and shit like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. That's like going up to the stage with the fire hose.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Godfather came in with another super chat. The real question is McKellen or Stewart? Ooh, Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart? Okay, that's an interesting question. I don't know if you have any opinions, Trin.
Oh, well, that's easy. Obviously, Ian McKellen's going to be a little more gentle because he knows.
Yeah, and he knows. Oh, that's fair. That's very fair. And also, I would say because of the Gandalf thing for me.
Yeah, I was going to say Gandalf. I mean, plus we're talking Magneto. I mean,
yeah.
If would we even have Fassbender if it wasn't for Ian McKellen? Come
on. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. We wouldn't. Let's see here.
It was
Dave's
just so
coming
menacing
in.
What he did. As an old man.
No, I know. It's crazy. Well, that's another thing. It's like, dude, Fox perfectly cast Charles and Eric twice. Fucking twice. How's Marvel going to compete with that? Dave comes in with a super chat. Godfather, McKellen, Stewart are my zero trinity. Wait, what? I don't understand this. Godfather, McKellen, Stewart are my zero trinity. What?
I think he's talking instead of the number ones.
Number zeros. Oh, okay.
He's bringing it back.
Yeah, I guess he is. All right. Well, flew right over my head. You know what I mean? Flew right over my head.
Apt pupil. Absolutely, Trev.
Yes. 100%. David Nation says, hey, Josh, who is the woman you was comparing to Natalie Portman? Never heard of her. Gal Gadot? You talking? Oh. Gal Gadot is the actress that plays Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Trin, do I need to let you go, brother? You want to go set up your stream?
Yeah, we can go one more. What's this last one that came in?
Yeah. So Ben Edwards says, how will the MCU explain mutants versus Inhumans? Using the stones to explain mutants sounds a bit like Teragenesis. I think he's right. What's your take?
Yeah, I think that sounds 100% accurate. It does sound like Teragenesis. And do we? I don't know. I'd hate to say that Marvel's not going to do mutants and Inhumans, but that's definitely going to be something tricky for them to have to work out.
It is. Yeah, it is going to be tricky. Man, it's tough because so the Inhuman show was obviously a disaster. They're going to sort of distance themselves from that, which I'm happy about. And then apparently in the Miss Marvel show, which, oh man, I'm so ADD. I just thought in my head, like, they could really announce some shit about like She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel, and we're all good. Like, come on, Feige, let's go. But anyway, so it looks like they're going to recast the royal family for Miss Marvel. But my gut tells me that the Inhumans are not going to play a big role in the MCU. I don't think the Inhumans are going to be valued the same way the mutants are, and I don't think they're going to be pushed as much as the mutants will be. I think mutants need their time in the sun, and they're potentially way more profitable and recognizable. So I actually think that they might play down the Inhumans for a time and maybe eventually get to an X-Men versus Inhumans thing. I don't know, Trin. What you think so, or?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I honestly don't see a better workaround for it. I mean, you're going to have to, at some point, they're going to bring them in and explain them anyway, because I think there are probably some certain storylines that you almost need them for.
Yes, that's true.
To do certain things with, but how they're going to do that, yeah, yeah, I don't know, because they're just so similar in that way. Like you said, like the Stones, the Terrigenesis, like, yeah.
And they're even similar in a lot of ways to the Eternals. Like, dude, I'm really curious. One of the things I'm most curious about is how are those Eternals going to play in the MCU moving past this? Like, are they going to be Avengers? Like, is Icarus going to be an Avenger now? You know what I mean? Like, because they are seemingly way stronger than most of the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's going on? Like, is it just all big guns now? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot that we don't know about. And luckily, at least, one thing, man, 2020 has been rough, but at least we've been getting plenty of information about the future of the MCU, so we don't have to just sit here and wonder.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, brother, I'll let you go. Get ready for your stream or whatever. But is there anything you want to plug before you get out of here? I think people should really go check out that comic review you did. But is there anything else you want to plug?
Not really. I mean, I think tomorrow I'm going to see probably be doing a stream over on my channel where we're going to get. I think I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. Maybe like nerd therapy, where we're just going to get together. We're going to talk about some of the different things that are on our mind, because I know we all have different viewpoints and everything out there. And sometimes maybe we think that people don't agree with us. Maybe they don't want to hear from us or anything like that. Maybe we think our points are invalid, or maybe we think there's just anything like that. We're going to get some of that stuff out. We're going to start doing that on the show. I think I'm just going to call it nerd therapy.
I like that, actually. I like nerd therapy a lot, yeah. That sounds awesome, dude. I just watched, I've been watching Doom Patrol, and I just got into the episode in season 1 where they have their therapy session, and it was like fucking hilarious, dude. It's so funny. But yeah, no, man, I think that's a great idea, and I think Trinity's doing great work over there. I highly recommend checking out his reviews. His streams are dope. So yeah, thanks again for being here, brother. And yeah, we'll send everybody over once you get started up, okay?
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right,
y'all
brother.
have a good one.
Yep. Talk soon.
Later.
All right. We'll give that a happy face, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Chet, what do you think? I thought that was a pretty good chat. Pretty good chat with Trinity. Trinity's pretty level-headed. Good dude. Good dude, that Trinity, I tell you. So we'll go maybe like 10 more minutes here, guys. Just wait until Trinity gets all set up for his stream, and we'll take it from there. By the way, I know I like kid and meme and poke and prod a little bit. It's just part of my personality. But I hope you guys know it's all love. Like, it's all love. Like, I genuinely don't, like, think that SDW is wrong or CGM show is wrong. It's not like I'm like, oh, you guys are fucking wrong. You know, that's not it. It's just like, I don't know. I just think differently about some of these things, and I just want to bring it up and talk about it as a community. So it's all good. You know, I hope you guys know that. Because if this was an RPG, like, here's the thing, guys. Lean in. Papa Josh got to tell you something. If this was an RPG, and there were, like, levels of stats and stuff like that, smugness, how do I say this? Smugness, my smugness level on my character, pretty fucking high. You know what I mean? So I totally get it. Like, dude, like, hey, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I just min-maxed on smugness. Sorry, Mom. All right. Conceit. You're a fickle fan. SDW, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Arrogance. Conceit. Maybe a little. Stormbreaker says, Josh, I missed the first half of the stream, but do you really think Marvel is going to do their own thing? They have to get past the Disney higher-ups for dropping out of D23. Man, Stormbreaker, man, I don't know, bro. Like, I think that they have multiple different ways they could deliver the information. And, you know, I forget who brought it up, but somebody was saying, like, do it on Disney Plus. Dude, great idea. Like, honestly, I don't care where they do it. I just want some info. Like, it's so... And I think, of course, like, let's just state the obvious, okay? Let's state the obvious. Let's get it out there. of course, part of the reason I'm more butthurt about this than some of you is because my job, in a lot of ways, relies on these things coming out there. Of course, that's factually correct. It's frustrating that I have nothing to talk about with regards to Marvel. It is frustrating. So, of course, that's part of it. But I don't know, bro. I really hope they've got some stuff to put out there. How do we have so few likes? Hit that like button. It was probably your comments about Evans or whatever. But yeah, if you guys could smash the like button, man, that would be great. Let's do a little like button smashing. Can you help me out a little bit, eh? Arkham O. I guess that wasn't a 0, Dave. Dude, look, I don't know what you were saying in that thing, man. You gotta be more explicit to me, okay? It flew over my head. Okay. Arkham says, do I need to call Humberto Gonzalez to debunk another fake clickbait rumor? You guys want to talk about it, or you want to wait for the video? Do you want to talk about the Humberto thing, or do you want to wait for a video? We can talk about it a little bit. If we must. Is Aquaman 2 going to be good? I think so. I see no reason why it wouldn't be good. Oh, you picked Pratt? My bad, bro. Gray said fracking is bad for nature. Maybe. Probably. Let's be real. It probably is. Guess I know what my real topic is going to be tomorrow. Dude, I don't know. All I can tell you is this. Anytime, like, man. Oh, and let's address this, too. Let's address this. In all seriousness, I did go too hard on Monday. Like, you know, we memed and we joked about it yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm fucking sorry. But in all seriousness, I did go a little too far on Monday. So, if that did offend anybody or that rubbed them the wrong way, I do apologize about that. That's not going to be something that we consistently do. Also, very funny. And look, man, you know, Star Wars Santa says that one of my, I don't know how he worded it, but he said something about like how egg on my face is my favorite thing or something like that. And look, naturally that's going to happen. But boy, oh boy, do I look stupid for calling out stupid Redditors, or I shouldn't say stupid, anonymous Redditors. And then they end up being right. Oh my God. Like that's memeable, right? That's pretty funny. But you know, as somebody that is always in front of the camera and stuff, right? That's just something you got to get used to. And this sort of goes into something that maybe we'll talk about on Sunday. But that is like, as a content creator and as someone that like makes content and is like doing streams and stuff, like you got to have really thick skin, but it's beyond having thick skin. You have to have fun with it, and you have to realize that like some of the stuff that comes at you is that's just natural. Like you think about it. How often have you seen a take on like ESPN or some channel or something, and you're watching this person say this shit, and you disagree, and you're like, I want to let this dude know, or this gal know. I want to let this person know. Well, now you can, right? So, like, it's a little weird, but, like, as of someone that engages in this kind of stuff, you got to be ready for that. But I say all of that to say, I think anytime we have a really spicy week on the channel, that After Dark is going to be particularly spicy. Particularly spicy. Because of Josh, no one is getting a PS4 from Michael Roman. I got no control over that. So we'll talk a little. I'll just say this. I'm going to save a lot of the Humberto stuff for a full video. I'm going to save it for a full video. But essentially, like, what had been happening is, so we've been covering a lot of the crazy DC news. Okay. Now, I knew Humberto was a subscriber, because when you get new subscribers, like, I just pay attention to that, because, like, man, I'll just say this. I knew that Humberto was a subscriber. And I knew he was potentially someone that watches the videos. But I can never shift or alter the way I make content because of specific people that watch the channel. That would be a huge disservice to you guys. You know what I mean? So Umberto was commenting on a lot of our videos about DC, particularly both videos on Monday. We dropped 2 DC videos on Monday, and the one we dropped on, was it Thursday or Friday? I forget, about Ben signing that new contract. And so Umberto was being like in the comments, and he was like, dude, this is false, wrong, nope, you know, things like that. And it got to the point where I was like hitting him back up in the comments, and I was like, hey man, like, just follow you on Twitter, hit us up in the DMs. So essentially he let me know that a lot of this stuff is false, and that he was going to be going scorched earth on a lot of these takes, and a lot of these reports. And so he put out a Twitter storm. It was, you know, it was last night, and I was like, oh man, do I hop on and do a video about this? You know, welcome Darth Clean. Welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. And I was like, no, I'll wait. I'll save it for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what he debunked. I'm going to look at exactly how he worded it. Okay. Umberto is a very good scooper. He's been in the game for a long, long time, but he's also a trade reporter for The Wrap. Okay, so he has access. He has actual Hollywood access to the different studios, and the relationship between the trades and the studios is a really interesting thing. Adam from Fanjecture was going over this during his show in the mornings, which, by the way, how many people watch this stream don't realize that Adam streams at 9 a.m. right before us? Maybe I haven't done a good enough job of explaining this, but we have like a nice little block of programming where it's like you start at 8, or rather, you start at 9 with Adam, then you get to 10, you do our show, then you can go check out Trinity's stuff, right? So I don't know if you guys know that or not, but you should definitely be checking out Adam from Fanjecture. Good stuff. But Umberto is a trade reporter for The Wrap. And by the way, I'm a fan of Umberto's. I've been a fan of Umberto's, and I had a very good time chatting it up with him yesterday. Chatted up about YouTube, chatted up about reporting, chatted up about John Schnepp, man. You know what I mean? We got to start rolling that promo spot I made. We absolutely should, bro. That's on me. But we talked about John Schnepp. We just talked about a lot. Dude, Umberto's a really cool guy. But I can't just, when I make the video today, I can't just be like, well, Umberto says, and so this is what's happening. I have to try to give context to what he is saying, why he might be saying it, and also try to be fair to these other people. You know what I mean? Because it's like, am I just going to like shit all over the direct? I don't want to. Am I just going to shit all over Jeremy Conrad? No. Am I going to shit all over, what's his dude? Taylor, the guy that had the scoop about Ben? No. So I'm going to try to find a way to make that piece of content that explains what's going on, tries to give people a good look at what's accurately going on, and explain the possibilities of what could be happening that maybe Umberto can't say, you know, et cetera, right? Beginning to feel the stress for the Nerd Card Showdown, said Stormbreaker. You're going to do fine. You're going to do fine. Look at us all doing PR like we on TV. Awesome. Yo, and let me just say this right here and right now. I want to cut this off at the pass. And maybe this will, look, hey, maybe this will get people pumped to see it or whatever. But whatever Lavis says about my Snyder Cut take is wrong. Whatever he says, I'm gonna put it right out on Front Street. It's wrong, and I'm guaranteeing you it's gonna be a terrible take. You hear this, Lavis? I'm coming in right now and telling you and everyone at home that whatever your take is tomorrow, it's gonna be terrible. Like horrible. So if you want to see that craptastic take, you're gonna have to show up to After Dark tomorrow. Is Trinity streaming? Does anybody know? Now I'm going to get the footage. I already know what his take's going to be. Lavis's take is going to be like, Josh said here that the Snyder Cut doesn't exist. He's going to find a video where I said, yeah, the Snyder Cut probably doesn't exist. And then he's going to claim that like that was wrong and that the Snyder Cut always existed. But really and truly, the best take from this is already out there. It's Jeremy Jahns. Jeremy Jahns' take on the Snyder Cut is the best take, and it's 100% correct. The truth is, there was no cut put together that was a Snyder Cut. There wasn't. It didn't exist. But the Snyder Cut as a concept did exist, and it existed by virtue of Joss Whedon making a different cut to the movie. So the semantic argument of like, did the cut exist, did it not exist, is really a stupid argument. It's a stupid argument. So I can't wait to see Lavis's terrible take tomorrow. But anyway, Trinity is streaming. There's the link. Oh shit, did I put it in the wrong thing? Boom, there it is. I'm gonna tell you right now, Josh is wrong. Look, now people really want to know, man. Now the pressure's on. Now the pressure is on, my young apprentice. The next few days on Den of Nerds are going to be lit. Always. Always. All right, guys, head on over to Trinity Stream. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out and engaging with these conversations. This is all really fun stuff, man. I love doing this stuff. I really do. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Chet, roll that thing that Adam was talking about. That thing that he made with with him, me, Trinity, the blockbuster movie morning hour thing. Yeah, it was really. What do you mean you don't have it?